So in the last video, we had a single parameter. No, excuse me, we had a two parameter overloading, of the constructor. So here's our default constructor. If you create an object from the class and give it no parameters, it will, by default, set these parameters. Okay. And if you give it one parameter, it'll set, in this case, the first name. It'll set the first name. If you give it two parameters, in this case, the first name and last name, it'll set the first name and last name, and then default whatever you choose to default. And then you'd have to do it for 3 parameters and 4 parameters and 5 parameters. So that can get kind of tedious. You know, what happens if your class has 10 variables? Then are you going to make 10 functions? Or if it has 20 variables, are you going to make 20 functions? So that can get, that overloading could overload the developer, right, with so much work. So a way around this, let me get rid of this one, is to have a default parameter inside of the arguments. So I'm going to default the parameters in the arguments. Okay. So I'm going to do it like this. So let's pick a first name, Casey, and the last name, okay, Jones. And if you like Ninja Turtles, you know exactly who Casey Jones is. All right. And then let's make up an employee ID, which is an int. And we need a nice little comma in between these two. And let's pick a number. Okay. And let's pick let's pick a salary. Okay. And the salary is a float, I believe. And let's make that 125K and 50 cents. Okay, and is supervised will be false for now, and date time will be down. Okay, so that's going to be my new default constructor. I'm always going to leave the date time in the is supervised. It needs to be a function call and not a default constructor. So I'm going to leave it like that. Okay. So now I can choose to set any one of these. Let's say if I choose to only give it one parameter. So what should happen is if I choose to give one parameter, a string, it'll change the first name. It won't be Casey. It'll be whatever I give it. And then everything else will be the same. And so let's test that. Okay, so real quick, I thought about it and I was right. I need to put this dot first name equals first name. This dot last name equals last name. This dot employee ID equals employee ID. This dot salary equals salary. So I got to put this part in there as well. And then that'll work with these numbers here. And let's change this up a little bit so we know we made it. How about 157? That sounds like a good $157,050.50. All right, sounds like a pretty good income. Okay, so there's your first name, last name, employee ID. So I had to do this dot and then equals the parameter that's sitting up there. All right. So now if I come over here and I just do the first name, John, the default, if you send it no parameters, will already be John Doe. So let's pick another name. Making with employee ID of, what is that, 1 million basically, and a salary of 35,000. And so we will make this Sam. Okay. And just sending Sam should give us Sam, last name, Jones, that employee ID there, and then a whopping salary of $157,050.50. Our euros, our pesos, our rubles, or whatever your denomination of money is. So when I run that, run, let's run. Okay, so there's your Sam Jones. There's that employee ID. There's his $157,050.50. And so without making another constructor, without overloading another constructor, we can take that, go into the program, and let's say his last name is Sam. Now we do have to follow the order here. That's one thing we have to do. And let's set one more parameter. How about his employee ID? Okay. And we will set it to all twos. How about this? Okay. So when we run it, there's your Sam Smith 2121212. Okay. So that concludes this video lecture of parameterizing an overloaded constructor. So we parameterize and we overload a constructor at the same time so that you don't have to create, a constructor for each individual variable that you add. Thank you for watching.